Welcome to lesson 4 of our Primavera P6 training. So today we're going to be learning how to create the WBS. WBS simply means work breakdown structure. Remember earlier on we told you that the WBS is a hierarchical decomposition of project into what we refer to as work packages. This is how we define WBS. That's the work breakdown structure in lesson 1. So in this lesson 4, what we're going to be doing basically is to learn how to be able to create our work breakdown structure and then also take different views of our work breakdown structure. Earlier on in lesson 3, we learned how to create a new OBS. Remember, OBS simply means organizational breakdown structure, where we'll talk about the responsible manager. Then aside from creating an OBS, we also learned how to create an EPS. EPS simply means enterprise project structure, and we said it's synonymous to program because we use this to arrange projects in our P6, and beyond arranging projects in our P6, the EPS also help us to organize projects in our P6 according to a relationship that exists between our projects. And then we also learned how to create new projects. So remember, we created a new project in our Primavera P6 in lesson 3, and we're able to link the new project to the new EPS, and then also we're able to also link the new project to the new OBS. So just like I mentioned earlier on, we're going to be creating the work breakdown structure, which is the WBS. And if you've been following our discussion from lesson 1, you remember gradually what we're doing is a hierarchical decomposition from the responsible managers to the program level, which is the enterprise project structure, and then of course to the project level, that is creating a new project, and then further breaking down the project into what we now refer to as work packages, and that's what we're going to be doing now. So the WBS is crucial because it will help us to organize our activities or tasks that we have in Primavera P6, and we're going to see how all of this works out, especially in the next set of lessons that's we're going to be having. So let's get started. So we're going to be working directly on the directory bar. Okay, so once again, welcome to the Primavera P6 window. As usual, you begin by entering your password, and then of course you click on OK. So once you do that, Primavera P6 will take you right in. Okay, good. So we're in, and it took us straight to the project window, which is what you're seeing here displayed at the top of my pieces conspicuously. Remember, this was the EPS we created the last time. That's the maintenance EPS, and then under the EPS we created a new project, which is the manufacturing facility expansion project, also known as the MFE project. So next we're going to open the project. Remember how we talked about opening projects? So we can simply right click on this project that we have here, which is the MFE project, and then click on open project. Don't forget, you can also simply go to open in your directory bar and then select the MFE project and click on open. Whichever way you choose to is to open your project is just fine. So once we do that, our project window opens. So you can see right now we're now in the activities page, and if you notice, there is no activity here yet. I do not have any activity currently running in my P6, and that's because of the fact that at the moment I've not created the work breakdown structure, which is the WBS. I've also not created any activities yet, and that's why we don't have any activities displayed. So to create the WBS, it's pretty straightforward. We go to the directory bar and click on WBS. You're going to see an icon that looks like two small square boxes, blue in color. So that's the WBS icon. So when you click on it, it takes you straight to the WBS page. So you're going to see displayed at the top. So where we are now is the work breakdown structure page. That's the WBS page. So you can open it up so that it looks a bit more conspicuous. Okay, good. So now we're going to be adding work packages to our WBS, and that's what we're going to be doing right away. We're going to be creating the following work packages just like I'm drawing on my screen. So remember, we have the MFE project. So this is the MFE project. And then under the MFE project, we're going to have 3 phases, and the 3 phases we shall be creating in our MFE project are, we're going to have the building system, which will be our first phase. So we have our building system. And then right after the building system, we're going to also create another phase, which is our automation system. And then finally, we shall create the 3rd phase and the final phase. And the 3rd and final phase is our conveyor system. Now, each of these phases is further broken down into work packages. So for the purpose of our pieces, let's keep it simple. So let's say under the building system, we're going to have design, procurement, as well as foundation. So we also have exact same work packages in our automation system. Don't forget, of course, for your project, this of course might differ depending on the peculiarity of the project. So you have design, procurement, as well as foundation, and then the final phase. Okay, good. So this is basically the WBS we're going to be creating in this very lesson. So notice that we have 3 phases of the project, which is the phase 1, that's the building system, then the phase 2, that's the automation system, and then the phase 3, which is the conveyor system. So under the building system, we have different work packages. So we have 1.1 as design, then we have 1.2 as procurement, then we have 1.3 as foundation. Then under the automation system, we also have 2.1 as design, and then 2.2 as procurement, and 2.3 as foundation. And then under the conveyor system, 3.1 is design, then 3.2 is procurement, and 3.3 is foundation. So this is what we're going to be creating in our P6, and that's the WBS we're going to be creating. So we'll learn how to be able to create something like this, or a hierarchical structure like this, in our work breakdown structure. Okay, so to create the WBS, we will now create the WBS using the add button in the command bar. Don't forget that aside from using the add button in the command bar, I can also right click in the empty space here in my WBS page, and also click on the add button. And then also do not forget that you can also use the insert button in your laptop to be able to add work packages, or to be able to create your WBS from the WBS window. So first of all, let's use the add button in the command bar. So if I click on the add button in the command bar, it creates a portion for me to add my WBS. The exciting thing is it imports, or rather automatically creates, a WBS numbering system for you. So you're going to see what I have here is 1, which is MFE1. Primavera will import the name of the project and then also give it the relevant numbering. So in most cases, I prefer to leave it at the default numbering, because it suits your need more often than not. But if you have a need to, you can change the numbering depending on the level of your element in your work breakdown structure. So we go straight to the WBS name, where we have the new WBS. That's the cell where we have the new WBS, and then we type in the WBS name for this very work, or for this very work breakdown structure. So remember, the first phase of our project is the building system. So I type in building system, and then I hit on enter. Good. So I've been able to enter the very first phase, and then next is to now create the work packages under the very first phase. So usually, since we have about 3 work packages under the building system, we could simply go ahead and add 3 spaces under the building system, which is what I have done at the moment. So you can see that I have 1, 2, 3, because of the 3 work packages that we have under the building system. However, depending on your layout, I'm currently at WBS layout. That's what my layout is. You may notice that your numbering system might look a bit different from what you want, because earlier on, if you saw the WBS we said we're going to be creating, we said it's going to be 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. But that's different from what we have here. We have 1.1. which is good. Then we now have 1.1.1, which suggests that this work package is a subset of the 1.1. And then we now have 1.1.1.1, which is also, in a decreasing format. But the 1.1.1 should be our 1.2. In other words, it should be at the same level with 1.1, and same also with the 1.1.1.1. So basically, to enable us to arrange it, if you notice in the command bar, there is an arrow there, which is a move left arrow. So if I click on the move left arrow, for example, it positions my 1.1.1 to 1.2. So you can see it has the correct numbering right now. And then I also do the same thing for the next work package. So I just move it left one more step. So this is exactly how I want it to appear, and that's essentially what's showing up here. So remember, under the 1.1 we had design, so we type in design here, and then under the 1.2, the work package under 1.2 is procurement, so we type in procurement here. And then under 1.3, the work package under 1.3 is foundation, so we type in foundation in this very cell. Okay, good. So we have created the very first phase of our project, which is the building system, and then we have also created the work packages that you have in the building system. Don't forget to enable you see exactly what you're creating, especially if you want to see it in a chart view, just like we created, or just like we did when I was using the pen to draw. You can simply go to the chart view in your tools bar and click on it. So when I click on the chart view, this is what displays for me. So in essence, this is what I've created so far. Remember, this is the project, which is the MFE project. So this is the phase 1 of the project, which is the building system, and these are the 3 work packages I have in the building system. So next, we're going to go back to the Gantt chart view and then create the next phase of our project, which in this case is going to be the automation system. So to create the automation system, as usual, I can also click on add in the command bar, but I can also right click in my empty space in my WBS window and click on the add button. So when I do that, it creates another space for me to enter another work package in my WBS. So this is going to be the phase 2. So I now need to move it left so that it's at the same level with phase 1, and then of course that simply represents the phase 2 of the project. So I use the move left button and move it left 2 times. So you may notice that the numbering changes here to 4 instead of 2, which of course is what it's supposed to be. So in order to make this phase 2, all we simply need to do is we type in 2 in the cell under the WBS code name, and then we now go to our WBS name where we'll have the new WBS, and we type in the next phase of our project, which is automation system. Okay, so once we've done that, as usual, you create spaces depending on the number of work packages you have, so that it will enable you to, include the relevant work packages that you have for that particular work package. And then also don't forget, put them at the right level. Okay, good. So I have it as 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. So 2.1 from our WBS is design. And then 2.2 is procurement. And 2.3 is foundation. Okay, good. So we may also want to look at the chart view to see what we have created. So you can see the project. This is the phase 1, this is the phase 2, and these are the work packages that you have in each of these phases. So let's go back to the Gantt chart view. Next, we're going to create the phase 3 of our project. This time around, I use the insert button on my laptop keypad. So if I click on insert, it creates a new WBS portion for me. So as usual, I move it to where it's supposed to be, move it left 2 times so that it's at the same level with WBS phase 1, then also phase 2 and then also the phase 2 of our project. So don't forget, this is phase 3. So I just type in 3 in that cell, and for the phase 3 is the conveyor system. So I type in conveyor system. So under the conveyor system, there are also 3 work packages there. So I can use the insert button to add 3 work packages, 3 spaces for the work packages, and then I also move them left so that they can be in the right position. So you can see I have them as work 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. So under the new WBS, that's under the WBS name, for under conveyor system, I type in the work packages, which is of course design, and then procurement, and finally I have foundation. Okay, great. So these are essentially the 3 phases of the work breakdown structure which we looked at earlier on. So again, I can look at the chart view and you can see this is exactly what I am talking about, and that's the work breakdown structure that we have created thus far. Okay, so I can go back to my chart view. Don't forget that sometimes your layout might be different from possibly the layout I am using, and if you want to be able to change your layout, all you simply need to do is you click on this layout, then go to layout and click on open. If you want to save the current layout you have, you click on yes. And then if it gives you a portion to enable you title this, it gives you a portion to title this layout. So I'm going to title it WBS, I'm going to title it MFE WBS, just in case I want to, be able to use this same layout, exact same layout much more later. So I can click on save. So when you do that, it gives you other layout options that you can have. So you can see this is the one I just created, which is this layout that we currently have here. Or otherwise, there's a WBS layout which is also the same as this. It's basically the WBS layout that I copied here and then titled it MFE WBS. And then don't forget, aside from that, you can also have your WBS budgeting view, for example, or WBS chart, for example. So if I use the WBS chart layout, for example, and then I click on apply, you see it displays my work breakdown structure in form of a chart. Then I can also use the WBS standard view. If I click on apply, it would also give me my work breakdown structure it will also give me my work breakdown structure as a table, but in addition to giving it to me as a table, it also, puts the Gantt for me. So I can decide to, look at the Gantt depending on the duration of each of the work packages which, I have there. And then there's also the WBS budgeting view. So if I use the WBS budgeting view, it basically helps me to display, the current budget, actual total cost, original budget for each work package in my WBS. But don't forget, we are in the WBS view, and that's the view we were up until now. Or I can still go back to the view that we're using before now, which is the MFE WBS view, which I saved earlier on, and then I click on open. So those are ways you can actually change the layout for your work breakdown structure depending on exactly what you want to display, on exactly what you choose to see in your work breakdown structure. Okay, so now that we have created our WBS, we can navigate back to the activities page. So when we navigate back to the activities page, you get to see what the WBS we've created looks like. Primavera has a bug. You notice that it looks a bit disorganized, not exactly what we saw in the WBS page, which looks a bit same here. But if we come here, you notice it looks a bit disorganized, but it's really nothing to worry about, because when you begin to add your activities, they would all sort out accordingly. But if you're a bit concerned, you can also decide to work on this. All you simply need to do is you go to the group and sort by. You click on group and sort by, and then check hide if empty and click on apply, and then also uncheck the hide if empty, and then also click on apply again. So you can see the moment I do that, you can see it's now looking a lot more organized than what it used to be before. And then I can now click on OK. So you see essentially how the phases of our project look like, and then also the work packages that you have under each phase of your project. And if I navigate back to my WBS, you can see that's exactly the same thing I have. And if I go back to my activities view, you would also notice that I have the work packages as well as the phases of my project now displayed in my activities view. So next, we're now going to learn how to create activities or to add activities to work packages or under the work packages or phases of our project that we have in our WBS. And that's what we're going to be looking at in the very next lesson. I hope this particular session has been very informative for you. I want to thank you for listening and see you in lesson 5.